Wow, I'm still feeling moved after last night's spectacular win and performance against Everton. So today, my friends, we have a lot of things that we learned in that win. So there's going to be no time for an intro. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that like button. Let's get over 2,500 likes. Let's get straight into things. And for the first thing learned, is Cole Palmer in contention to become the player of the season? Because wow, we're seeing some Messi-esque numbers and stats from Cole Palmer over the past 6 weeks. That is now 2 back-to-back hat-tricks. That is 7 goals in the past 2 appearances. Last night he scored 4. Perfect Palmer's hat-trick came alongside his customary composure that he shows from the penalty spot. He's going up another level and it feels like he's getting better and better and better every single month. So right now, my friends, let's analyze and break down his performance against Everton last night. Now, the thing I loved about his performance last night was that he got to cook as a 10. I feel like 10 encapsulates his best qualities, and I think long term, that's his position. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this game again. And as you're seeing here, look, in his stride, the first nutmeg of many throughout that game. But when Cole Palmer, look, he's by himself. There's like 6 players around him. But when he produces moments like this, there's a purpose behind his play because he has his eye on Mudryk. And then again, he delays the pass to wait for the contact from Onana before releasing it with the outside of his foot. The best players make this look easy, but you would see most players are attempting a shot from this angle, or they get fouled, or they get dispossessed. Again, 10, he's in the heart of all our good attacks and moves, and again, it was encapsulated by this goal right here. It might be the goal of the season team-wise. Effortless, cool, classy, just incredible, to be honest. Yeah, I'm definitely taking this back again. Look at that finish. He's gone for accuracy, not even putting much power into that. And, you know, this is what makes him special in these moments here. Look, you know, he's waiting for that opening. He's looking to do the nutmeg. I think he beats Branthwaite again, makes him, gets his body in front of his man, and then his next touch is deft, it's elegant. You know, his body balance is always on point. You know, again, Everton have done well here just to maybe push him away from going through on goal, right? They're trying to force him out wide, but Cole Palmer ain't having none of that. Another touch away, and then, you know, he's got 3 players around him, and he finds the opening with a backheel reverse pass into Nico Jackson. But does Cole Palmer just look at the great pass he played? No, he looks to attack the space right now to be on the receiving end. Him and Nico have had a good relationship throughout the season with these little 1-2s they play. Great pass from Nico, off balance. And then in his strides, left foot around the keeper. I mean, it's a world-class goal. This is one for the memory books. Like, I don't think we'll forget this goal anytime soon. And I think when he scored that goal, when I saw it in real time, I was like, yeah, I think this guy's about to cook in this game today. You know, he had a very quick opportunity to make it too. But look right here, my friends, look. Now, Cole Palmer is on the edge of the box in this moment. There are players ahead of him, but he's the guy that gets on the ends of this move. And I feel like at 10, you know, when he was at Man City's academy, you know, he had the license to be able to, you know, like drive into goal, to attack the spaces inside the box, to have that goal presence as well too. And he doesn't stop. He's always alert. He's on the move. A bit of fortune that, you know, Nico doesn't find the best contact. It's quite hard from this angle, but Cole Palmer knew exactly, listen, this is the space I need to be in. There's an original space where Everton are not marking anyone. If I'm here, my luck's it's gonna boost up in terms of hopefully getting something in this moment, right? And again, a little like rebounds with his heads. And I think he was on the way to scoring that hat-trick. And I feel like when he scored that second goal, I think we all knew that he was getting a hat-trick tonight, right? Let me know in the comment section if you realized he was set to score a hat-trick. This moment right here, it's not a fluke. Throughout the season, we've seen Cole Palmer be in positions where he's made interceptions off of goalkeepers. Because when he's in the opponent's half, he's someone that's constantly finding the best position on the field to close out passing angles and passing lanes. He's thinking, listen, as long as I'm in front of Onana, I'm stopping Everton having that build-up option to maybe, like, you know, build up from the back. And he intercepts that. And I just think this score right here, I think it typifies that he could be one of those guys that could be on the next level in terms of the great players in Europe. Because, I mean, come on. With his right foot, he knew in that moment, this is my only opportunity to score the perfect hat-trick. I'm going to take my right foot. I think that might be his first right-footed goal this season. But, I mean, my God, look at the skill. Like, you're seeing the little touches. You're seeing the expression from Cole Palmer these past 6 weeks now, where, you know, it looks like the game is a bit easy for him at this point, and that's what makes his development really exciting. I mean, perfect touch outside of his boot. I thought this was the moment he'd make it forward. If that's Palmer, he'll be a little bit disappointed, thinking I should have gone for power because this is like an easy goal for me. It is what it is. But again, look at the run that Palmer's making. It will come back to the moment, my friends. Bear with me. Look at Cole Palmer attacking the spaces in between Everton's defence. He constantly looks to make that run. You know, he'll be inside the box. I think the guy is just an all-round complete attacking player. I think it's obvious with the goals and assists this season. I think, 26 goals, 16 assists. We haven't seen stats like this from individuals at this football club in 5 years. Yeah, and it's not making sense. And of course, he also wins the penalty. And I actually think because he won the penalty for that action right there, that's why he wanted to take it. And I don't blame him for that. Of course, you know, Cole Palmer, I'll be discussing this penalty moment very shortly, so bear with me. But my friends, you know, are we witnessing the rise of a new star at our football club? I think right now, yeah, we could be. I'm going to keep it real. So that is Cole Palmer out the way. And for the second thing we've learned, are we actually a better team without Enzo Fernandez in midfield? Well, this is a bit of a trick question, because the real question is, are we a better team when Conor Gallagher is playing either side of any of our midfield players? And the answer is simply yes. Now, I'm going to be breaking down the importance behind his role, but I want to start off by talking about a very interesting stat from last night, and that was the fact that Conor got fouled 8 times, and technically that's the most any player's been fouled in the Premier League this season. And as you guys have seen just watching his performance as I'm discussing him, you're seeing how he's relieving pressure from his teammates. You know, he's constantly receiving under pressure against 2-3 players at times, and he's able to play out from that pressure. You know, another great thing he does is how he gets his body in front of the ball and in front of the man. It attracts a lot of fouls against him. Now, when we saw last night's team sheet, yes, we looked very offensive, but I think a lot of us were thinking, if we had any hopes of winning that game against Everton, we had to make sure that both Caicedo and Conor Gallagher were absolute generals and monsters in midfield to give us that aggression that was sorely lacked. And I say this because when we lost 2-0 against Everton at the start of the season, that was actually one of Gallagher's worst games of the season. And because his energy and his aggression got nullified, we lost that midfield battle and Everton were able to win. Hence why I think Sean Dyche set them up to be brave and attack against us, which obviously worked against their detriment. And for myself, it felt like when Conor knew that he was playing against Everton again, he remembered that performance against them earlier this season, and he was like, you know what? I'm not taking any prisoners tonight. I'm going to rectify that performance. Now, Everton statistically have the tallest average squad height in the Premier League. They're one of the best teams aerially. They're the best team when it comes to scoring set pieces this season. They're one of the most physical teams in the Premier League. So this was a massive challenge for both our midfield players to be on top, aggressive form to combat them. And I think Conor Gallagher definitely set that precedent last night. He's by far the most tactically reliable and responsible player we have in this team. If you guys have been watching this type of series since the start of the season, you would have heard me say this about Gallagher throughout. During the start of the season when he played the pivot alongside Enzo before Caicedo even signed for us, is it any surprise that you saw Enzo Fernandez playing some of his best football, being that tempo, deep line playmaker, because he had a Conor Gallagher alongside him, eating up the yards and spaces, playing aggressively, being that ball-winning midfield player, playing at great tempo, winning his tackles and duels. That gave Enzo the license and confidence to play his game, and we saw great results for this at the start of the season. And it's going to help him when you're playing alongside one of the fittest players in the Premier League in Conor Gallagher. But outside of the great things that he helps his team with his great supportive play, this guy is also a very good football player. Last night's stats show this, 2 key passes, 100 touches, 69 out of 74 passes played, 13 out of 16 ground duels won, 3 out of 4 aerial duels won, 4 clearances, 4 out of 4 dribbles. He's an all-action style midfield player that excels with box-to-box duties and doesn't get enough credit for the technical aspects in this game. And this is why I keep making this distinction that Gallagher is our very own Valverde. Valverde plays a similar role at Real Madrid tactically because without his endeavours in midfield, a lot of the good stuff Madrid do would get cancelled out and would die out. Gallagher makes us a better team. Being a better team doesn't mean that you have 11 of the best individuals playing for you. When you're a better team, it's about, are you better as a unit together? And to become a team, you need those support guys in your team that can do the hard work that other players can't do, because that work actually helps the better players. That supportive play makes the big players do what they do. At this point, it would be absolutely incredible if Gallagher still gets sold, because he'll be sold for a pittance. You know, his value is a lot higher now, and Conor Gallagher is the player that makes everything work for us this season. But before I go on, getting back to Enzo very quickly, I think one thing I've constantly looked to point out is that he has had a lot of injuries this season. A lot of muscular injuries, a lot of inflammation. I actually think, thank God, news came out today that he's been struggling with a hernia. And I've noticed this because Enzo is also a player that puts in work. And at the start of the season, he showed this. Check his stats. But he's clearly been affected by these injuries, and talks are suggesting that he may need a hernia operation. So as I'm saying, it's not about whether we're a better team without Enzo Fernandez. The real question is, are we a better team with Conor Gallagher? And that will forever be yes. Now for the third thing we've learned. Should we give next season's striking spot to Nico Jackson? Because for myself, I thought this might be one of Nico Jackson's best performances up front for us, which continues the great trajectory that he's showing in terms of his development in 2024. That is now 5 goals and 3 assists in the past 13 games. If you want to be super thorough, it would actually be 5 goals, 3 assists in 12 starts. And you're comparing that to his early start of the season form, which produced 8 goals, 2 assists in 23 appearances. That is now 8 goals and assists in his past 12 starts compared to 10 goals and assists in the past 23 games. He's more involved. He's more connected with his teammates. There's a better understanding in terms of the runs he makes, how he links up with his teammates, and the great work he puts off the ball as well too. I mean, he won 9 out of 13 ground duels. That's incredible. 2 key passes, obviously 1 big chance made, and of course 1 spectacular, incredible goal. He really is all action Nico Jackson, and right now, my friends, let's look at his performance against Everton. Now, I'm liking his celebrations, man, and very nice sellers. But again, him, Cole Palmer, one-touch movement. That's how Nico likes to play. And I actually think when Cole Palmer is playing as a 10, he connects more with Nico Jackson compared to being out wide, where, not that he's removed from play, but he can't combine as much with Jackson as he can in those central areas. Nico, again, a nice little layoff, constantly looking to find that pass to Nico, his partner in crime. But again, look at the skill right here. 2 great dribbles from him. He wasn't able to take the shot. And I think that if Nico learned to develop his left foot, he'd be having more confidence when it comes to taking shots with that foot. But that's another example of things he can add and grow over time, right? But again, this was great play by Nico. Again, he was literally slipping. He reacted late to that because it was improvised from Cole Palmer. But look at the weight of pass that he plays right into the direction. Great play. And that's another assist for Nico. Oh, let's look at the skill on first touch. I think this is what gets forgotten about, is that this guy is a very techie and a very silky football player. You're playing an all-action role where you have to like run channels, you have to like drop off, you have to drop deep. You have to like make runs wides, you have to press, you have to do a lot of these things, and he does a lot of that with the silkiness and elegance on top. I mean, look at the first touch right here. I mean, this guy is most definitely a La Liga striker. And listen, if there was one player I would love to see Nico kind of, emulate or even get better than, that would be Alexander Isak, because, they have that takiness to their game. I mean, how many strikers can actually, turn like defensive attack like this? Like, realistically, how many strikers can do what Nico does technically? Oh, I mean, this is the touch up and then the touch away from Branthwaite. This is a guy that people are saying, Everton wants 70, 80 million for. He's not worth that money. And again, he gets fouled in the end. He can't take the shot. But I mean, I just feel like, there's so much to come from Nico. And I think this moment right here, oh, what a goal. What a goal. Is he like the Samuel Eto'o regen that I've been waiting to see? You guys let me know. But what a spectacular goal. And I think it's well deserved for a player that has put his head down, that wants to learn, that has that hunger, that has that ambition. Look at the first touch right here. Left foot, swivels, perfect body orientation to take the strike, and goes for the bottom corner. It's a beautiful goal from a player that can produce these moments, and I'm glad that one of these moments finally went his way, because it's well deserved. Wins another foul for us. It's just like a different outlet to have, like when your striker has better dribbling skills than most wingers. Like in one like body swivel, and he's just looking to play the positive pass forward to find Cole. I mean, come on. This is what I mean. Cole and Nico together, essentially, that could be very exciting. Oh, nice. Again, the ref was not giving these yellows last night. Some dirty tackles from Everton. See, look where Nico is. You know, he offers you a different Allen dimension. He's in his own half, kick-starting the move then. Plays a nice 1-2. That's just him and Cole Palmer have taken out 4 Everton players. Just from what Nico's done. Look at the skill. This moment right here was pure gas. And Mudryk, man. I'm not going to lie, I was a bit harsh on Mudryk only because I felt like that moment deserved like a spectacular end. Because that whole move where it was literally Palmer and Nico playing through Everton. Let's replay one more time. Replay one more time. This is the type of football we want to see. Like, you know, when all us fans, when we saw these players be signed this summer, you were kind of thinking about this type of silky football, right? Let's keep things real. And I do feel like this was great scouting to sign a Nico Jackson. And then the question will come down to, do you give him the license, of course, to be that number 1 again for next season? Or do we see something new from Nico when it comes to competing against, I guess, another number 1 that we signed? So, my friends, we now move on to the 4th thing we've learned. And now to move on to the next thing we've learned. We have to discuss that penalty fiasco. Because naturally, of course, after winning 6-0 and seeing a player score 4 goals, of course, the conversation that's dominating that game was that penalty fiasco for the 5th goal. And you know what? It's not the first time this season we've seen Cole Palmer fighting it out to maintain his number 1 top dog spot when it comes to taking these penalties. We've seen Raheem Sterling do this on 2 occasions. We've seen Noni do this before. We have seen this throughout the season. At the same time, it's not the first time I've ever seen something like this. I remember when Drogba, of course, wanted that penalty in the game against Wigan, you know, that title deciding game. Of course, Lampard said no. Thank God Drogba got a hat-trick in that game. And of course, we've seen Ballack and co have their moments as well too. Listen, players at this level, they want a stat pad, they want the glory as well. And in the end, it took Conor Gallagher being the captain intervening and, you know, putting people in their places saying, no, you know, Palmer is taking this penalty. But you know what, no matter what, it's a poor showing. We're seeing it on screen, right? That type of reaction is not good from the players. That type of dissent is not good. But from a different perspective, not that it takes away from the negative aspects, let's try and see it from both players' sides. Let's start with Nico Jackson. Now, we know that his target this season is to get 15 goals plus. Why is that important for him? Because as we know, and as the whole of Europe knows, this summer we are after a massive mega money signing. And that naturally means that Nico Jackson's spot now is under threat. Now, for us, it's very easy to be like, Nini, you need to have 2 top strikers. But realistically, for someone at Nico's age, playing week in, week out is the best way to accelerate your development and to prove yourself and to get better as a player. And realistically, if you're playing the second man role with a top striker in front, unless that striker gets an injury and he's out for a month, you know, your opportunities to have that real consistency in your game, they're going to come few and far. That's the reality of how it works. You know, how many strikers have you seen where the number 2 striker is also getting 20 plus goals a season? That doesn't happen. So for Nico Jackson, this season matters. If he gets 15 goals or more, this helps him fight for his place for next season, and with enough goals, could it even force the club to reconsider their ambitions of spending 100 million on signing another striker. So right now, he has a lot to play for. I think that's why we're seeing this improvement during 2024. And in the case of Noni Madueke, since signing for us, he's had a lot of injuries. And, you know, with injuries means that it's a slower time for you to build that, match momentum to, like, find your form again. He's now starting to find some form. And he's probably thinking, you know, Cole, you've just got Yeah, a hat-trick already. I thought that the penalty was won by myself, but actually the referee actually gave the penalty to the initial contact made by Onana on Cole Palmer. But madueke isn't thinking that. He's thinking, you know what? How many times have I won penalties? I want my moment. So I can understand the frustration from both players. And it goes to show that the hierarchy isn't as set in stone. Now, Pochettino came out and obviously he said, listen, everyone knows Cole Palmer is the designated penalty taker. It's a shame. And it's a shame because the reaction is a disappointment, and it also creates negative communication outside, which is the reality. And these guys have to learn how to control themselves on the field. I'm not making excuses up for how they reacted, just because I'm trying to understand why. Cole Palmer came out to state that, listen, we're laughing about it right now, but just because the manager says that you're the number one, this is a young squad full of guys that don't know each other as well. We've created a squad in the space of like 12 months to 18 months. So a lot of these guys will be feeling out their hierarchy spots between themselves, by themselves. If anything, I think it makes Cole Palmer even more impressive, because it's not the first time that he's had to battle it out, keep his dominancy in these positions and areas. And with all the pressure that he's constantly under, against everything going against him, it highlights, listen, I don't talk, my actions do that for me. And I kind of feel in a way that it's a little symbolic, because I felt like last night is probably the final battle that you'll ever see with Cole Palmer and his teammates for penalties. And he announced himself as the leader of this Blue Lions pack. So, my friends, that's the fourth thing we've learned out of the way. And to end things with the final thing we've learned. I mean, there's no way I'm not discussing this man's performance, but that is Moises Caicedo. So, my friends, let's just get straight into reliving and analysing his game against Everton, because, listen, if you're going to be playing with a 10 up front, you need to have two combative midfield players behind you. And I thought Enzo played one of his best games as well too. When your midfield's on form, of course, it's no surprise that your team have a better chance of winning games. But what I really liked about, obviously, him playing alongside Connor is that there'd be times where Connor would sit back, allowing Caicedo to get forward, as you're seeing in moments like this, Great footwork, which he possesses. Nice little skill. Again, he holds his man off and then he plays the pass to find Mudryk. He did that how many times in the game last night? Again, on the left-hand side. And, Caicedo's so smart. You see that little, dummy to the left? Just to take out those two Everton players from the press. And then he's looking to go into that space and behind them. It's just smart. And he's constantly plays his thinking man actions on the field. And again, he wasn't found, which is a shame, because that should have been a first-time ball into Caicedo's feet then. Receives, nice little nutmeg. I mean, the amount of megs we played against Everton last night, yeah, they're going to be hanging their heads in shame this morning. Nice driven pass, and then Mudryk's just not in a position to fully receive properly. Again, comes out from nowhere, I want that ball. That's my ball. He wins that, carries it, and then releases it in the perfect time to find Nico. And just his ability to break the play, left, right, and centre, being in the right positions that you need. And I feel like, listen, they're like partners in crime in that sense. And this is probably explains why, at times at the start of the season, we did see Connor and Caicedo playing in a pivot together, with Enzo playing more advanced. Now, it's a shame that we didn't really get to see what Enzo could really do, because during that time, Enzo was still carrying an injury. But again, look at Caicedo driving us up the field. Heads up, plays the right pass to find Cole. He's constantly kick-starting our attacks. He's constantly instigating them. I think Caicedo can be a very interesting player as he develops, because, he can be a ball winner. He can be a box-to-box mids. He can also be a bit of a controlling midfield player as well too. I think this is why we paid the money we did for him. And this is why he has such a big hype in the game, because not many midfield players are like 3-1 in that sense, if you know what I mean. Just, very nice, classy performance from Moises. And, alongside Connor, he produced, I think, 11 out of 17 ground duels. Now, these guys were tackling monsters and machines last night. Without their ability to stamp their authority in midfield in those central areas, because they were the pivot. They were that pivot together. They had to work in tandem. They had to fight together. They had to be there for each other. They had to be the platform for the team. And they both inspired each other to put in two impressive, incredible performances. And I think they're one of the big reasons as to why we outshined Everton last night. So my friends, that is everything we learned in last night's spectacular win. I hope you guys enjoyed. Share your thoughts and opinions. Hit that like button as well too. And on that note, I'm Nini FC. This is BlueLionsTV. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cool.